This video will guide you through the installation procedure for the SRAM DH Access Transmission System. For a full list of tools and supplies, review the user manual at sram.com/service or find it linked in the video description below. SRAM DH Access Transmission installation is unlike any system before, in which we prepare components off the bike using details of your bike. Loosely hang the components in place, then tighten the components in a specific sequence. Installation is easier than ever, but totally new, so please complete the installation and setup in the order shown. Before we prepare any components, consult Access Web at www.sram.com or use the SRAM Access app to determine proper chain length and setup cog. To install the DH cassette and dub cranks, review the video linked in the upper right corner, or consult the user manual at sram.com/service for more information. Position the clamp or right bridge in the right handlebar position. Install the pod controller with the pointed tip aligned with the open slot on the clamp. Loosen the clamp bolt if necessary. Loosely install the pod controller on the handlebar. Adjust the position to rider preference. Tighten the bolts. Install a charged SRAM battery into the derailleur. Press and hold the access button on the rear derailleur until the green LED blinks slowly, then release. Press and hold the access button on the controller until the green LED blinks quickly, then release. Press and release the access button on the derailleur to end the pairing session, or wait 30 seconds for the session to time out. The pairing process does not need to be repeated when batteries are removed or replaced. Consult the SRAM Full Mount Chain Length Guide or use the SRAM Access app to determine the chain length and setup cog for your bicycle. If your bicycle is not listed in the guide or app, or if you have an adjustable idler pulley not in the default position, you must consult the categorization video and use the chain gauge tool to determine the chain length and setup cog for your frame setup. Follow the link in the upper right corner or the video description below for the categorization video. Count down on a new full-length aftermarket T-type chain to the number of chain links determined by the Full Mount Chain Length Guide. Or use the T-type chain sizing tool included with the chain printed manual. Use an approved chain breaker tool to break the chain at the inner link. Press the top button on the controller to shift the derailleur into the fully outboard position. Alternatively, press and release the access button on the derailleur to move the derailleur outboard one position at a time until it is fully outboard. Press the bottom button on the controller to shift the unmounted derailleur into the setup cog position, 18-tooth, 21-tooth, or 24-tooth, as determined by the Full Mount Chain Length Guide or the Access app. Shift 4 times from full outboard position for the 18-tooth cog, 5 times for the 21-tooth cog, or shift 6 times for the 24-tooth cog. Alternatively, press the access button on the derailleur twice quickly to move the derailleur inboard one position at a time until it is in the setup cog position. The Universal Derailleur Hanger, or UDH, must be removed from the frame before derailleur installation. Turn the UDH bolt clockwise to remove it from the hanger threads. Remove the frame-specific UDH washer along with the UDH bolt. Rotate the UDH hanger backward to unseat the hanger from the pocket. Remove the UDH from the frame. Remove the mount bolt and bushing frame insert from the derailleur. Clean the frame to remove any grease or debris. Install the bushing frame insert from the outside with the black side facing outwards into the hangerless interface. Before proceeding, make sure the cage assembly is fully tightened onto the derailleur body. Rotate the knurled ring so that it is touching the knurled ring stop. Apply grease to the mount bolt threads and shaft. Hang the transmission derailleur with the full mount sliding over the hangerless interface and bushing frame insert. Install and tighten the mount bolt clockwise to snug. Loosen the mount bolt counterclockwise 1 full turn. Rotate the derailleur cage forward until the lock icon on the cage clears the setup key. Press the Cage Mode button to set the derailleur cage to open mode. The derailleur is spring-loaded and will return from the open mode position rapidly. Keep fingers clear of pinch points. Apply grease to the through axle threads before axle installation. Install the through axle and wheel according to the manufacturer's instructions, and tighten to snug. Loosen the through axle bolt counterclockwise 1 full turn. Stop. Verify the chain has been cut to the proper size, and the DH transmission derailleur is shifted into the setup cog as determined in Access Web or Access App or the categorization video. Place the properly sized Eagle T-type chain on the setup cog, 24-tooth, 21-tooth, or 18-tooth, and route through the derailleur pulleys with the flat edge of the chain facing away from the cassette. Make sure to route the chain between the pulley and the tab in the cage. Route through the idler pulley or pulleys if applicable. The chain must be seated and engaged on the cassette cog teeth for proper setup. Pull each end of the chain together and install the power lock. Press the power lock connector links together. The arrow on the outer plate must point in the direction of chain travel before locking the power lock into place. Once locked, the power lock must not be used a second time. Rotate the derailleur cage forward and release the cage from the open position. Reposition the derailleur cage so that the Cage Mode button aligns with the keyline mark for setup mode position. The derailleur is spring-loaded and will return from the open mode position rapidly. Keep fingers clear of pinch points. Check that the two halves of the power lock are aligned and engaged. Use chain link pliers to lock the power lock. Alternatively, rotate the crank until the power lock is above the chainstay and apply the rear brake. Firmly push the crank arm down to lock the power lock. You should hear and feel the power lock click into place. Check the power lock by hand to make sure it moves freely. The power lock is designed for one-time use only. The power lock can only be removed with chain link pliers and must not be reused. Install a new power lock each time a new chain is installed. Reusing a power lock may result in a broken chain that could result in a crash. If you have completed the categorization procedure, continue from this point to complete the DH Access Transmission System installation. Before proceeding, you must verify the following were completed in the previous sections. The rear axle and mount bolt have been loosened 1 full turn. The derailleur is in the setup mode. The chain is placed on the setup cog for your bicycle and is properly engaged on all cogs in the system. The power lock is closed and the bicycle suspension is uncompressed at 0% sag unless otherwise instructed. Pull back on the lower cage of the transmission derailleur to remove slack from the chain. Continue to pull back while you rotate the crank forward 2 rotations, while confirming the chain stays on the setup cog. For downhill bicycles using Gear 3, 18-tooth cog, or Gear 1, 24-tooth cog, you must make sure the chain is fully seated on the X-Sync cassette cog profile with 2 full crank rotations. Adjust the chain as needed. Tighten the mount bolt while continuing to pull back on the lower cage of the derailleur, then release. If there is still slack in the chain after tightening the mount bolt, loosen the bolt and repeat the previous steps. Stop. Verify the knurled ring mark is aligned with the mark on the full mount of the derailleur. If it is not aligned, loosen the mount bolt. Rotate the knurled ring so that it is touching the knurled ring stop, and repeat the previous steps. Tighten the rear axle to torque according to the frame or axle manufacturer's instructions. Release the cage from setup mode to ride mode by rotating the cage forward and then carefully letting it return to the unlocked position. This completes the system installation. There are no adjustment screws in this system. You must repeat the complete installation procedure if you change any of the following on your bicycle: chainring size, geometry adjustment to chainstay length, replace the chain, or reposition or addition of an idler pulley. Failure to repeat the complete installation process when changing chainring size, idler pulley position, bike geometry, or after replacing the chain may result in damage to your system or poor drivetrain performance. Rotate the crank slowly and press the bottom button on the Access Pod controller to shift the derailleur all the way inboard. Continue to rotate the crank slowly and press the top button on the Access Pod controller to shift the derailleur all the way outboard. If the derailleur cage was not released during setup, it will automatically release during the inboard shifting to ride mode. The pulleys may appear to be unaligned. They are intentionally offset to improve chain travel and direction. Optimize derailleur shift performance and eliminate unwanted rasping sounds by fine-tuning the derailleur position with Micro Adjust. Micro Adjust affects derailleur position across all of the cogs. There is no independent adjustment for each cog. Press and hold the controller access button while pressing a controller button. The bottom button will adjust the derailleur 0.2 mm inboard and improve shifting to an inboard cog. The top button will adjust the derailleur 0.2 mm outboard and improve shifting to an outboard cog. If you have customized shift buttons in the Access app, micro adjustments will follow those settings. The derailleur may not appear to move. Watch for the LED to blink to confirm the derailleur executed the command. For the best shifting performance, the fine-tuning of the derailleur should be done with the bicycle's rear suspension in the sagged riding position. If you haven't already, download the SRAM Access app, available for free in the app stores. Use the app to create your account, add your components, and customize your SRAM Access experience. This concludes the installation procedure for the SRAM DH Access transmission system.